In February of 2026, I played over 100 demos live on Twitch within a single week as part of Steam's Next Fest, a one-week event during which developers and publishers can promote their games by making demos of them available to the public. Every 4 months, I sit down on the opening day to pick out over 100 demos for me to check out during that week, and then I play them all, giving each one around 30 minutes to show me what they are about. And in this video, I'm going to be telling you about my 10 favorite games from that week, as well as some honorable mentions. Links to all the games can be found in the description. Let's kick things off with 10th place, the Dungeon Experience. As the name suggests, this is truly an experience, one that's incomparable to pretty much anything I've ever seen. When starting the demo for the Dungeon Experience, you get greeted by this crab fella who, after putting on a little wizard outfit, tells us that we'll be granted a private saxophone performance if we do not enjoy the demo, so I gotta apologize to y'all because boy did I have a great time here. Anyway, we skip the prologue in which we get fired and head straight to the titular high fantasy theme park, the Dungeon Experience. We get to know this barbarian a little bit, as well as the guy playing him, before being told to press his buttons, which turn out to be his exceptionally long and uncomfortably realistic nipples. This opens a trapdoor below our feet, sending us into a free fall onto an old mattress covered in rocks located inside a cave. Miraculously, we did not die from this, but instead we just get up and are immediately greeted by a fellow adventurer whose legs probably shouldn't be bending this way. He tells us he's fine, so we go explore the room instead, and now our new friend is very happy to share his thoughts on every single thing we interact with. When we finally approach the door to move on, we officially meet the crab from the beginning of the game, who introduces himself as the Dungeon Master and tells us that during this adventure, we'll be working towards financial freedom and uncovering the secrets of the Mind Hole. But before that, we gotta hide our fellow adventurer's body from potential inspectors to keep this place running. So we throw a couple of items on top of him, one of them being a knife that kind of ends up inside of him a bit, but it's cool. And then we head straight through the door into an intermission. Here, we are literally presented with the choice of ending our demo playthrough or continuing further ahead. It's only been about 15 minutes at this point, so I keep going, which puts us back into the scene right before we enter this room, but this time we get to enter the actual reception instead of walking into a wall. If I were to describe the rest of the demo in as much detail as this beginning section, we'd be here all day, so I won't. But I will show you parts of it. The Dungeon Experience is an incredibly silly game that knows exactly what it is and does not shy away from doing incredibly stupid stuff. The writing is hilarious, the sets are great, and the acting is fantastic. Every small detail in this game has a purpose, and in almost every case, that purpose is to make you laugh or chuckle or just make you think, that's funny. This game will throw a lot of shit at you, like collecting several items in a room to craft a headset or shooting drones to save a king and his castle. All of this is happening in a very cartoony world led by a little crab guy in various costumes, so you never forget that this is not to be taken seriously. The Dungeon Experience consistently had me laughing at all the bullshit that was happening or just hidden all around me, and I kept thinking about wanting to play more of it. If an insane comedy about befriending a crab during a LARPing adventure sounds like your cup of tea, then make sure you sign up for the Dungeon Experience. Sitting gracefully in 9th place, Flock Around. Many new multiplayer games these days give you an objective, a timer, and a bunch of things that could fuck you over. Flock Around only gives you an objective and it's perfect. Get together with some friends and take pictures of birds. That's all there is to it. Create or join a game, customize your base appearance, you gotta pay for clothes if you want to wear some, and get out there to look at birds. There is a small starting area with pictures on a wall to tell you about various features and mechanics, but you're kind of just free to go out and explore the world. And while you're exploring, you want to look out for birds to take pictures of them. There's many places to go, like this cave or this open field, near the water, behind the waterfall, or up on this mountain. There's even a secret moai statue all the way up here, and anywhere you are, you could see a bird and take a picture of it. Once you've used up all your film, you can develop it at the Developatron, which shows you details about your pictures, grades them, and rewards you with money. The best pictures you take get put into your little notebook, which you can pull up at any time and saves infos on any birds you encounter and has 4 slots, 4 pictures for each bird: front, flying, side, and back. So if you want to fill your book, you gotta take a lot of pictures of a lot of birds. And honestly, once you get started, you do not want to stop. This game had us hooked. We kept running around looking for new birds and yelling to each other whenever we found something cool or new. We were helping each other out, scaring off birds so others could get good shots of them flying. Sometimes a bird would land on someone's head, which would make for a neat photo op, and other times birds would poop on their heads, which was very silly. Overall, this game was exceptionally delightful. We kept just running around, taking pictures of birds, developing them and earning money, buying upgrades or seeds or whistles, and generally having a good time. At some point, we even found a rare shiny bird and spent several minutes trying to get as many pictures of it as possible, basically until we stopped playing. Flock Around was a truly fantastic experience, and I recommend it to anyone who just wants to have a fun and relaxing time looking for some birds with their friends. The map felt like it could benefit from being a little bit bigger and having more areas to explore, and expanding the options for customizations would also be nice to see, but those are things that could easily be added through various updates after the game's release. The demo build was still a lot of fun, and if you're a fan of birds or just enjoy spending time with your friends, then keep your eyes on Flock Around. Landing in 8th place, Helix, Descent and Ascent. This game is still leaving me speechless to this day, yet here I am trying to talk about it. Helix, Descent and Ascent is a super creative black and white puzzle adventure game with fantastic art and animations. Like, take a look at this opening animation. It's a little rough, but once this fruit impacts the ground, it turns into the main character, and suddenly we're seeing incredibly fluid character animations as well as wonderfully detailed environmental art. Changing screens and walking through this doorway, which by the way also has some very nice animation to it, the game shifts from being predominantly white with details drawn in black to being predominantly black with details drawn in white. I imagine that this shift is going to happen a handful of times while playing through this game and might indicate interiors and exteriors. Exploring a bit, we learn about floor buttons opening gates, our ability to push large objects to keep floor buttons pressed down, wall buttons, gates that require multiple buttons being pressed, levers that can invert the states of gates, and we run into this almost identical fish alien creature that is color inverted to us but also has a scar over one eye. This new character enters the open hallway, and a few seconds later it triggers a short flash of color inversion, but if we try to see what's up, all we find is a dead end. Though we are able to see another button on the other side, so we flip the lever real quick and push the button to open the gate in the main room. Here's where the real game starts. We walk through this gate and find some kind of pulsating orb, and once we interact with it, it explodes us and we get reassembled into a completely different room, but now we have the ability to summon monoliths we can push around and place on floor buttons. We continue onwards, finding out that we can use our monoliths as bridges over water and that we can only have 2 of them out at a time. With this new ability and knowledge on how to use it, we make our way into the outside world, where we go exploring until we run into the inverse character again and watch them use a totally different ability to destroy a bridge. We could use our monoliths to cross the gap right now, but first we explore a bit more to find a map with some symbols on it. I'm sure these will be important later. Anyway, we cross the river, use our monoliths as well as our own body to press 3 floor buttons to open a door into a small cave with an arcade machine. On this machine, we play a little 2D platformer minigame to turn off the waterfall outside, letting us access a new puzzle that is hiding another orb behind a big door, except this one has a square inside of it, which is the same symbol as our ability on the bottom right and the symbol marking this spot on the map. Interacting with this orb sends us back to an area looking like the one we started in, except one of the circles on the floor now has the square symbol inside of it. Continuing through the door that just opened, we interact with another unstable orb to get sent to another new area and gain a different ability. This time it's the little drone we saw the inverse character use, and I think now you have an idea of how the game works. We keep solving puzzles using new abilities, then explore the main overworld with those abilities and find new areas and secrets until we get sent back to the starting area with an upgraded mural. It's really interesting, it's super fun, and it's goddamn beautiful. I mean, just fucking look at this. This is amazing. This game is gonna have a lot to offer, and I'm super curious to figure out the lore behind everything going on, and if you feel the same, then I highly recommend you keep an eye on Helix, Descent and Ascent. Racing into 7th place, Driving Rogue. I feel like I've been thinking about wanting to play a good racing roguelike for a while now, as those are 2 of my favorite genres to play when I don't feel like doing much and just want to relax a bit, but nothing I had seen so far ever tickled my brain the way Driving Rogue did. Driving Rogue is honestly very simple. You pick your car and get on the road, where your goal is to perform various actions to string together combos to gain a bunch of points before reaching the finish line, and more importantly, before the time runs out. You can see your progress towards the finish line in the bottom left next to my stupid face, until it reaches 50%, at which point it disappears behind me. The actions that give you points are driving at top speed, driving in slipstream, performing near misses, and maybe most importantly, drifting. The drifting can be a little tricky to get used to, but making it through a turn with your combo intact is incredibly satisfying. The more actions you can chain together, the higher your multiplier will get, but crashing will do damage to your car, which you can repair at a gas station, and also break that multiplier, so you'll just get the flat amount of points you have gathered up until that point. You can see all of this on the right side of the screen right below your required score and your grade. Anything above an F is a pass, but the better your great, maxing out at triple S, the more coins you'll get after you reach the finish line. You heard that right. After every race, you get coins, and you can use those coins to buy stuff at the shop. One of the things you can buy here are mods that have special effects and can improve your car's stats, like improving your car's handling by 10% or improving it by a total of 20 if the mod is the rightmost mod in your set. And for the purpose of actually being able to make sure you can make use of that aspect of the mod, you are also able to rearrange your mods however you want. That is not all though, because we also have multipliers, which improve the base amount of points you get from your actions, consumables, which you can use in the shop for various effects like gaining 2 free rerolls or getting a revive to 20% if you die during the next race, boxes, which contain multiple random cards of one or more categories for you to choose 1 or 2 cards from, and abilities, which are, well, abilities you can use during a race to make your life easier. I only ever saw the ghost ability in the shop, which temporarily lets you phase through objects, and I only used it once at the very end of the last race I played, so great job gathering footage of that mechanic past facts. I think the reason I was able to get into this game so quickly was because it has a very similar loop to Balatro. You play 2 normal blinds, and then finally a boss that puts some restrictions on your ability to gain points with a shop between each blind. You have jokers, boosters, tarots, and planets. The terminology is pretty transferable, which was very nice for me and definitely helped me get a better grasp of the mechanics more quickly. Driving Rogue is crazy fun, and it has a lot of cool vehicles to unlock by playing the game and getting through the increasingly difficult stages. Each vehicle also has its own stats as well as a unique effect that gets applied to your run, so they're not just cosmetic. The car's colors and liveries, however, are just cosmetic, which is great because I love driving green cars. Driving Rogue really hits the spot for me. It's a really well executed combination of 2 of my favorite genres, racing and roguelike, with satisfying controls, a simple gameplay loop, and honestly an absolutely banging soundtrack. Everything in this game just works to make the whole experience super fun and engaging. If you are up for a wild ride, then don't lose track of Driving Rogue. Rolling into platform 6th place, Dench Attack. I've never really thought about the idea of making trains do cool tricks, but the developers of Dench Attack have, and they were right to do so because this game fucks. Dench Attack takes place in a world where most people live in dome cities, but we are not one of those people. We ride along the remaining train tracks to deliver food to others who also chose to live outside the domes. Thanks to our incredible train driving skills, we get encouraged to become a Dench Attacker. Turns out that Dench Attack is a competition for the most skilled drivers to compete in races and trick competitions, and that sounds like a lot of fun, so we're all in. Now, let me show you all the cool shit we can do with our train. Start our engine so we're always accelerating, honk our horn to interact with the environment, brake so we don't crash, drift so we don't fly out during turns and get a speed boost, switch tracks either by leaning into a direction when coming up to a fork or by leaning towards a neighboring track, jump to jump over obstacles and switch to tracks a little further away, stop to slam downwards, cutting our jump short and landing on the track below us, and trick to perform cool maneuvers in the air to gain points. And this trick system is insanely deep, y'all. There's multiple pages of tricks in the Tricktionary, which lists every trick in the game and tells you how difficult it is to perform, ranging from 1 star to 4 stars. And to perform these tricks, you spin and flick the right control stick in various directions. Just going nuts with the stick is pretty fun, but actually trying to learn a couple of specific tricks and being able to consistently nail them feels awesome. But all of this so far has just been the tutorial. Jumping into a real level shows us what this game actually has to offer. The difficulty immediately ramps up with tougher to avoid obstacles and more complicated track placements. There's also various objectives to fulfill on every level. We got a score objective, a time objective, 5 bonus objectives, and 2 different types of collectibles. And I don't even know what boss levels are going to be like because I didn't make it that far, but I bet they're going to be super intense. Dench Attack has a vibrant anime art style with wonderfully wacky 3D environments, a super cool soundtrack, fun characters, and amazing gameplay. The vibes are truly immaculate. When I get my hands on this, I am definitely going to play every level to completion before moving on to the next because I want to see everything this game has to offer. If you are looking to become the very best at something utterly ridiculous, then you should definitely be getting your hands on Dench Attack. Entering the top half of our list, in 5th place we have Aqua Chamber. I honestly don't even want to talk about this game. Ideally, I just tell you to go play the demo yourself. It's gonna take like 10 minutes, and then you go do that and you experience for yourself why I think this game is super fucking awesome. But we're obviously not doing that because I kinda have to talk about this game for a little bit, so here's what I will do. I will talk about some key parts of the demo to hopefully convince you to give this game a shot. And if you did try the demo, then let me know in the comments and tell me what you thought about it. Anyway, if you you've been paying attention, you might have noticed that I keep getting sent back to the start, and that's not me cutting things weirdly. That's the game's doing. Every time we get sent back, there's a few flashes of the locations we have been, and if you pay attention, or once we fall down this hole, we might notice that those frames represent every time we jumped. Aqua Chamber is a time loop, and the loop is tied to our jumps. Use up all your jumps and you're back at the start. So we just try to conserve all our jumps, right? Well, yes, but there's actually more to it. So far, every gameplay mechanic had been explained to us via drawings on the wall, and most importantly, the game doesn't tell us about everything immediately. So, after entering this room right here and falling all the way down, it might seem like we're stuck, but a new mechanic we're introduced to here reveals something very interesting to us. Invisible platforms. We learn about closing our eyes, and when our eyes are closed, we can see platforms and stairs that are usually invisible. With this new knowledge, we find our way back out of this room, and with another reset, we find a completely new path that had been right above our heads the whole entire time, leading us back into that exact room again, but this time without having to use a single jump. This is the game. This is what it's all about. There's more paths and secrets to uncover to make it all the way to the end of the demo, and I cannot wait to see what else the full game has in store for us. Aqua Chamber genuinely blew my mind. The level design and mechanics working together to create this super fun and creative experience completely overshadowed the dread I felt from all those massive human heads all over the place. They seriously gave me the creeps, but I was just too intrigued by everything else to stop playing. Right now, I'm kind of mad at myself. I feel like I told y'all too much, because the discovery of all of this was what really sold me on this game in the first place. But what else am I supposed to do? Not talk about this game? Of course not. So I really hope that I managed to convey to you how much of a fun and interesting experience this demo was, and maybe you will go check out the rest of the demo for yourself now, even though you already know about most of it. But hey, the demo is just the beginning, so even if knowing all of this makes the demo a bit less fun, there's still a full game to explore in the future. So if this type of time loop exploration puzzle game sounds like it would be right up your alley, then keep your eyes peeled for the release of Aqua Chamber. Delivery for 4th place, it's The Mailroom. Congratulations, you got the job. Incredible how you managed to pull that off when you didn't even apply for it. But as odd as that sounds, we don't have time to dwell on that because our first shift starts tonight. We somehow end up in the elevator, ready to get off on your floor in the Mephisto building at 666 5th Street. The room is pretty dark, but we find a table with an intercom and are being told to clock in and find the directory, which should be somewhere around here, probably not near the toilet. Very inconvenient if it wasn't this locked room. This leaves just the machine room, where we find it inside this cabinet. With the directory in hand, we can finally start our shift. Our job consists of cross-referencing the information on the mail with the information in the directory, and then deciding whether it's a scam, which means we burn it in our oven. No, not that one, this one right next to us. We just gotta light it first. And once it's lit, it lasts for about a minute, and if you ever run out of wood, you can find more in the machine room. But if it's legit, we put it in one of these canisters and send the canister to the correct floor through one of these pneumatic tubes. It's that simple. The mail gets delivered to us by our wonderful assistant, who seems to be the employee of the month and always appears behind us right after we ring this bell. I feel like the two of us are gonna get along great. That's really most of what the game is. Sometimes we get sent specific instructions we gotta follow, like to find this frog in a toilet, stuff it in this specific tube, and send it up to floor 2, or we get gifts like hundreds of rolls of toilet paper. Really hope they're not single ply. We can also harvest these mushrooms and grind them up into some kind of liquid using our mortar and pestle, which will be relevant for various assignments that will be given to us in the future. We also get visited by a strange floating man wearing a mask. I don't know what he wanted, but I think he's not very fond of frogs, as he just vanished after I offered him the one I just found. The demo ends after we get the assignment to process the frog that just got sent back to us. Our assistant kindly lets us know that we'll be needing a knife for that, so we won't be able to take care of this until tomorrow. We clock out and that's it. A perfect first day at work. Not bad. The Mailroom is an incredibly fun and immersive sim about sorting mail for hell with an effective but not overwhelming horror atmosphere. I had an incredible time with this game and I'm excited to get my hands on it once it's out. I am in love with the crunchy 3D art style and want to know so much more about our lovely and helpful assistant. What's really going on here and how we eventually get out are mysteries we won't be able to solve until the game comes out, so if you're as eager as I am to find those answers, then you should definitely make sure you don't miss the release of The Mailroom. Before we move on to the top 3, I want to tell you about a few more honorable mentions that didn't quite make it into the top 10 but still deserve your attention. These are all fantastic and interesting games in their own right, but I won't be able to talk about them in much detail, so I hope you'll go and take a look at them yourself if they catch your eye. The links to all these will be in the description. I'm going to be going pretty quick here, so make sure to pay attention. Here we go. Arts Chronicles is a turn-based strategy roguelike that presents itself in a charming tabletop style. Roll your dice, assign them to actions, and earn upgrades to become the hero this world needs. In good news, you're the new chief editor of a newspaper. Check the trends and edit headlines and articles to make sure they are truthful and, maybe more importantly, pander to your readers' preferences. premise. For she is a strange detective game set in a Czech pub. Every conversation is a card game and every new card played is a question asked and answered. Can you solve the mystery of the missing regular? Gloomvale is a cute exploration game that has you explore a vast interconnected forest. Whether you take a peaceful stroll avoiding confrontation or choose to antagonize the forest by attacking indiscriminately is entirely up to you. Rollick and Roll is a phenomenal physics-based puzzle game that transports me back to being a child playing with my toy cars. The puzzles are fun and the deeper you get, the more intricate and difficult they become. My Faith Chill streamer Dies a Million Times is an absurd time loop game about you trying to save your childhood friend who is now a VTuber from dying ridiculous deaths over and over again live on her stream. Can you save your Oshi from herself? Altered Alma is an incredibly cool cyberpunk Metroidvania with satisfying combat and fluid movement, all within a clean pixel art package. But here's the craziest part, it's also a dating sim. No matter what you're into, this game's probably got you covered. Truckful has you drive around a seemingly peaceful countryside to work various delivery jobs for the people living there. Load the cargo, customize your truck, figure out the route, and get those deliveries done. War Drum is an amazing turn-based rhythm strategy roguelike. Select your team, march into battle, and replicate the rhythm to buff your allies or hurt your enemies. Can your warriors become strong enough to rid the world of the threat of dark magic? Without a Hitch is a hilarious co-op game in which you and your friends drive around various areas to find enough pieces of scrap to hit your money goal. My personal favorite part of this one? Talking in game makes the hoods open and close. No, she grabbed me! It's very silly. And that's it for the honorable mentions. Once again, please go check these games out yourself, because even though I just can't talk about them in as much detail, I still wanted to highlight them. They all deserve some more attention, so links to all of them will be in the description below. But now it's finally time to talk about the top 3, starting with Replaced. In an alternate cyberpunk past, an AI was transferred into the body of its creator due to the questionable actions of the corporation he was working for, and this AI is now trying to uncover the sinister secrets of this corporation while also trying to return this body to its rightful owner. This 2.5D adventure sci-fi thriller comes at you with breathtaking environments and highly detailed and fluid animations on pixel art characters. Like, look at this shit. Look at this. This is pure gas. I still lose my mind thinking about all the detail in these. There's even an animation for tripping. The demo gives us a taste of what the full game is gonna have to offer, throwing us into gameplay sometime after the beginning of the game, but giving us some exposition to let us know about the situation we now find ourselves in. We get moving and very quickly find ourselves in a fight. Combat feels incredible. Kind of reminds me of the Arkham games a little bit, just in 2D this time. Our weapon is a super cool futuristic gun called Huxley that can switch seamlessly between baton mode and laser gun mode. We learn about this when checking out the Wingman, which kind of acts as a digital notepad for us. Here we can read about the various items we come across in this game, check our current objective, go over tutorials again in case we forgot something, listen to music if we had any, and check out the device information. The actual game settings are in a different menu, which is probably for the best actually, but the Wingman is still an incredibly cool game mechanic that provides us with all the information we need without breaking the game's immersion. The game also features stealth, platforming, and puzzle segments to bring some variety into the gameplay. With its minimal HUD, only showing health during combat or input pop-ups whenever relevant, and detailed environments and lighting, Replaced really nails the immersive experience it's going for. The entire time I was playing this game, I was in awe, constantly talking about how fucking cool everything is. I actually ended up cutting my experience with the demo short because I felt very early on that I had already been convinced that this one will be worth playing and talking about, and did not want to get spoiled more than I already had. I'm really looking forward to finding the time to really dive into this game and experience it to its fullest. If you're interested in a dark cyberpunk thriller with high quality art, animation, and gameplay, then you should definitely get your hands on Replaced. Moving on to second place, Blades of Fire. The circumstances around this demo are very different from anything else I've played and talked about in this or any of my other videos so far, because sometime after I had already put this top 10 list together, I found out that Blades of Fire had actually been released before. Back in May of 2025, Blades of Fire came out as an Epic exclusive. About 1 full year later, back in May of this year, 2026, it released on Steam. This is what the demo was for. The Steam release came with its 2.0 update that added a handful of new features as well as some extra polish to make the whole thing feel worth it. So yeah, it's not entirely new, but I'm not gonna remove it from the list or avoid mentioning the Epic release because I had played it during Next Fest and hadn't heard about it before, and I really enjoyed it, and that's kind of exactly what this is supposed to be about. I also wanted to be honest about the existence of the Epic release, so with this minor asterisk in mind, I'll now be talking about my time with the Blades of Fire 2.0 demo. The game opens up with a first-person cutscene of someone with burnt hands climbing out of a cave, finding a guy in the middle of smithing, I think, and reaching out for help, but as the guy turns around to look, we switch perspectives and see that there's nobody there. But we are now in control of our protagonist, Aran, who does hear some fighting in the distance and decides that he needs to step in. This is where we get our simple combat tutorial, and it's where I started to fall in love with the game, because if you look at the left side of the screen, you may notice that all 4 of the face buttons are used to attack from different angles. The left face button hits from the left, the right face button swings from the right, the top face button swings overhead, and the bottom face button swings from below. You can combine these different swings however you like to create unique combo strings as long as you make sure you don't run out of stamina. Each swing as well as dodging consumes stamina, and once you're out of stamina, your actions will be less effective. Stamina recovers slowly over time or very quickly if you're blocking. All of this together turns combat into a fun and engaging system that is more than just mashing one singular attack button all the time. We then make our way towards the people in trouble, getting used to actual combat against real enemies along the way before arriving at a small clearing where two travelers with an ox are being threatened by two soldiers. So we jump down, learn about locking onto a target, and take on those soldiers. Oh shit, there goes our axe. Luckily the old man has a sword for us, so we're back in the fight and make short work of the two enemies in front of us. One of them somehow ends up right next to the old man and slices his throat open, which I guess means that we gotta be the ones taking care of the kid and the ox now. Back at the hut, we learn that the two of them were actually looking for us and brought something with them. It's a cool hammer that, as soon as we touch it, transports us into another dimension where we can forge to our heart's content. This is when I knew I would absolutely adore this game, because you get to forge your own weapons. And I don't just mean that you craft a sword or hammer or something. No, you pick your weapon type and then design it yourself, choosing how it looks and the materials it's made from. Anything you change can affect its various stats, visible on the right side, differently, so you can either build your weapon based on how you'd like it to look or how you'd like it to feel during combat. And I think that fucking rules. Once that part is done, we play a little mini game in which we have to match the height of the metal to the thick white line, and the better we do, indicated by the stars, the more times we will be able to repair the weapon. And to top it all off, we also get to name it. We can then equip our forged weapon alongside the sword we were given and are able to swap between them pretty much seamlessly mid-combat. This game has so much to offer. Weapons deal different types of damage based on the types of weapon they are. Hammers deal blunt force damage, while swords can switch between slicing and piercing, which changes the way you attack. And whether your attacks will be effective on your current opponent will be shown to you via a colored outline on the enemy. There's also a sharpness mechanic when you die, you lose the weapon you were holding at the time and will have to return to where you died to get it back. This game is truly insane, and I kind of can't believe I had never even heard about it until now, even though it's been out for a year. The combat system is fresh and feels absolutely amazing. Being able to forge your own weapons with this much depth is super cool, and I also really like how this game looks. I deliberately played Blades of Fire for way longer than just 30 minutes, almost getting up to an hour, because I had just gotten out of the tutorial section by the time I made it to the 30-minute mark. I also just had so much fun with it and wanted to get a bit more footage. I also encountered some troll boss that kind of humbled me a bit before I learned how to actually beat it. I seriously cannot explain to you how much I've been looking forward to this game since I played it, because I love a good action game, and this one felt like nothing I'd ever played before. If you are looking for an engaging combat system and the ability to freely create your own weapons, look no further and get your hands on Blades of Fire. And after all of that, we finally made it to first place. Sheeps. This was such an insane experience. In this game that looks like it belongs to the first PlayStation, you walk around killing sheep to feed them to a tree, and this tree will then read you a poem. Every sheep has some kind of topic written out above them, stuff like sweets or contemplating the goat of the NBA, and the poems you get from those sheep are honestly all over the place. Like, here we have contemplating the goat of the NBA, which consists of fewer words than its title. Sweets, on the other hand, could almost be considered a novel. That's how long it is. And every poem is narrated as well. In fact, the whole game has voice acting. And what I personally believe is the best part about the voice acting is that all of it was done by the developer. No matter the character, the dev just sat down, maybe put on a silly voice and recorded all the lines. On one hand, that's dedication and really respectable. On the other hand, it's incredibly funny. Certain poems will spawn characters into the world, and interacting with them will then move them to the audience in front of the tree, and then you're able to chat with them there, and those chats might last a while and tell you a good amount about the world or the poet, which is what the dev is referred to by all the characters in the game. And this is really kind of all there is from what I played. It's a generally very silly game, but there's a lot of depth in it as well. I am more than certain that I have barely scratched the surface of this game, but even in the few minutes I played, it genuinely left such a powerful impression on me because I could feel the love and passion that was put into developing this. And it also feels like such a pure and earnest attempt at creating art, and I adore it for that. The visuals are charming, the world is vast, the poems are super interesting. After I quit out of the game, I got very passionate about why I love it so much, and I think to make you understand what I mean, I'm just gonna have to show you. Dude, this is fucking poetry, genuinely. This is incredible. Something about this is just like absolutely amazing. It makes me excited about the future of game development. Yeah, like stuff like this makes me like so excited for like, this fucking shit is why I do this. This fucking shit is why I go through over 2,000 games, 2,600 games in the Next Fest catalog and download over 100 of them so I can play this fucking game and experience my mind getting blown wide the fuck open. You don't fucking get this shit by sitting around and just like following basic gaming news, like maybe occasionally watching like a PlayStation, what's it, state of play, like watching a Nintendo Direct or whatever, hearing about what happened at the Game Awards. You don't fucking get this from that. People don't fucking talk about these games on like social media and they get like big traction. No, you only fucking get this shit going deep into the Next Fest catalog and just like finding bullshit affectionately. You know what I mean? This is what I'm fucking here for. This is the type of shit that I live for. God. So after all of this, I urge you to open your eyes to more projects like this and make sure you make some time to experience sheeps. Thank you so much for watching. Next Fest is my favorite time of the year, and I love going through the catalog and playing over 100 games every 4 months to find out about gems like some of the games on this list, and I hope that I was able to maybe introduce you to 1 or 2 games you might consider putting on your wishlist as well. But more importantly, I hope I inspired you to be more curious about upcoming games and maybe take part in Next Fest yourself, because the best way to find your favorite upcoming games is if you're the one taking a look. And if that is something you're considering now, then you're in luck, because the June Next Fest officially begins on the 15th. And if you feel like following along with my journey this time around, I will once again be going live on Twitch for 1 whole week of demos starting on the 16th. The top 10 video for this upcoming Next Fest will come out just ahead of the October Next Fest in 4 months, but the actual list will, as always, be published over on Blue Sky just after its conclusion. Once again, thank you so much for watching. I hope you had a good time, and I will see you all next time. Bye bye.